This show featured the last two quarterfinals of this Cruiserweight Classic. But the question is, were they any good? Let's find out.
Hey, welcome to KocoSports.net or KocoSports.com. It takes you to the same place. It's where the world comes to kick ass, your home for combat sports, and above all, where it's okay to be a passionate fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. This is your weekly WWE Cruiserweight Classic review. This is for the review for the 7th of September 2016 edition of the show. Also episode 9 in this first inaugural series, or the first inaugural tournament, so to speak. And we have two quarterfinal matches that took place last night. Commentary was Daniel Bryan and Mauro Ronaldo. And guess what, guys? This show was a win. Okay, but now I want to hear what you think. Put in the comments below, was this show a win? Was this show a tie, or was this show a loss? I'll be really shocked if there's a loss in there, but hey, who knows? Someone might want to play a prank on me. I give this a win. I have a 4-star match and a 3.5-star match rated for this show. And maybe because there's only two matches, put below what your star rating is for this show. Do you give it a 5, a 4, a 3, or a 2, or a 1, or a dud, or even negative figures? But we have two quarterfinal matches we're going to cover. I'm on tight schedule, so I want to get this done as quickly as possible. I want to get this done within 10 minutes. I know, because CWC is an hour long. There's just two matches. So there's not much really to cover. So let's get straight into it. So we have the first quarterfinal of this evening. We have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Noam Dar. Zack Sabre Jr. representing England. Noam Dar representing Scotland/Israel. And one thing I like about this during the start is that it generally feels like, two friends, with beaming smiles. The feeling of, hey, look, we've made it. We're in the quarterfinals of the first ever Cruiserweight Classic. We're live on the air. Well, not live, you know what I mean? We're on the WWE network. We're wrestling in a WWE ring. That must be a great thing. And if these guys have wrestled in little garages or gymnasiums to wrestle in front of over 1 million people, that must be the most satisfying feeling in the world. And I know Zack Sabre Jr. does stuff with PWG, does stuff with Progress, Rev Pro, Noam Dar does stuff in ICW and Progress as well every now and then, and PCW. So they do have a big platform, but it's not the platform. And the being the WWE is the big be-all, end-all in wrestling or sports entertainment, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So it's just to look at them and feel that moment with them. I thought that was absolutely magnificent. Phenomenal technical wrestling from the start. The whole match, there's a simple story going on here. Zack Sabre Jr. is working at the arm. Noam Dar is working the leg because Noam Dar has been getting wins with the knee bar. Zack Sabre Jr. has been getting wins with the arm bar. Simple psychology. Simple, but effective. I like that a lot. And when I'm watching this, it feels like a wrestling match. It's not nothing personal. This is just wrestling in a tournament. Simple story, and it's just hold counter, and I'm a big fan of this. Zack hits a bridged half and half suplex, which is very nice. Zack misses a penalty kick, but Dar just pelts Zack's leg. Really nasty stuff. Zack then kicks Dar's arm backwards, and one magnificent piece of storytelling. And I hope you will watch this if you haven't rewatched this show. And if you haven't watched this show, by the way, guys, you really fucking should. Zack has his arm like that. He just clicks it back. But before that happened, Dar, because of the fact these guys know each other well, because of their friendship, he knew it was coming. So he begged him. He was like, no, Zack, please no. And then when he hit it, he let out this massive scream. Really phenomenal storytelling. This whole classic. Okay. One thing I like about this, and one thing that people can take from this, maybe wrestlers out there who wrestle the Cruiserweight style, the flip-flop and flying, if there is just one of them out there listening who just do local shows in the minute. The one thing I love about this show is that even though these guys are flip-flopping and flying around, and they are, I'm not going to deny it, they're flip-flopping and flying around, but they're also adding the element of psychology and storytelling, and more importantly than that, selling in their matches. You can go out there, you can hit 50 big spots, but if you don't sell, none of them mean anything. This tournament will go down as, quite frankly, one of the best tournaments of all time. Okay, match after match after match, show after show after show of just phenomenal matches. I can't remember if there's ever been a bad episode of this show. Just putting it out there. Dar hits a huge leg sweep on the apron plus a suicide dive. Dar with a knee bar, but Zack falls back into a cover for 2, but then Dar gets back into the knee bar, but Zack escapes. Zack hits a jumping uppercut, but Dar turns his back. And as he turns his back, he just dumps him. But as he dumps him, it's a backslide. So that's a good near fall there. Zack applies the cross arm breaker. Dar gets to the ropes. So they're both one apiece with the submission hold. That gets a, this is awesome. This is awesome. Dude, I hate that more than anything in this world. Later on this show, even that, well, if you haven't checked out already, please check out the retro show me and Wrestling and Randy did. We did a live commentary on Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat from WrestleMania 3 in 1987. There was no "This is awesome" chant, and that match was awesome. So if you haven't watched that already, please check that out. Oh, that's once every 2 weeks that happens, by the way. Yeah, "This is awesome" chant, no need for it. And I say this every single show on W, especially when there is a "This is awesome" chant. You can show your appreciation by just being loud. You don't have to say "This is awesome." If you're loud, we know it's awesome. So you kind of don't really need to chant that, but, you know, whatever rocks their boat. Dar hits a double stomp off the top to the leg, again working the leg. Dar then applies a knee bar, and Zack escapes by rolling, and they just kept rolling and rolling all the way to the outside of the ring, where there was a massive thud when they both landed on the floor. And this is where the selling of Zack's arm. So so Zack's leg is now a bit okay, but it's the arm now of Zack. So they both have arms worked on them. And remember that the arm. Zack has the Rings of Saturn, which is using the arm, which is Perry Saturn's old move where you kind of yank underneath. Both arms are pulled. But because his arm's now hurting, he uses his good leg to push it down onto the other arm. It looked excruciatingly painful. It looked insane. It looked gruesome. But more importantly, it looked awesome. And he gets the win. So he moves on. Great psychology. Couldn't use the arm, so he had to use his good leg. Big fan out. Both been exhausted. Sat in the ring. They have a hug. Great moment. Zack moves on. He'll be going one-on-one with Grand Metalik, I think, and then it's Kota Ibushi versus the winner of the next match. So yeah, that's a 4-star match, guys. I don't know if you didn't enjoy this as much as I did, but I just love the storytelling. You guys know I'm a huge psychology mark, because the way I see it, if psychology is done right, it's special and perfect. But when it's done wrong, I think it's really shit. This was done right, and I was a huge fan of this, so 4 stars from me. And I'm interested to see what you guys would give it, so please in the comments below put what star rating you give each of these matches. So I go 4. As I just turn my page on my notes, because yes, I'm an old school bastard who still takes notes using pen and paper. So we have the second quarterfinal. We have Rich Swann versus TJ Perkins. And this is no disrespect, okay, to TJ Perkins. His gear, and I'm nothing about his in-ring ability, nothing about him as a person, nothing. I like watching him wrestle. But to me personally, TJP looks like a backyarder. When I see him, my first thing that comes to his mind is he looks like a backyard wrestler. I've just always thought that. Always. It's not his fault. Maybe it's just a stigma in my mind that just has me think every time I see him instantly, I'll look backyarder. But when he comes out with the material he wears with those shoes, like, get some wrestling boots, mate, or some kick pads, please. Jeez. TJP, though, keeps dabbing. I think that's what it's called. I'm not going to... I'll do it. Okay, I don't know how to do this. I don't think I've ever done this before in my whole entire life. Okay, never in a million years would I ever think that a wrestling match. Like, I was generally shocked when he did it, and he did it in the opening rounds, but I kind of just forgot. So here goes. Is it like that? I'm not sure. It's like that, isn't it? I don't know. There you are. So that was. I mean, thank you. Yes, that was good. Thank you. So I'm guessing that's what happens. In case you don't know what a dab is and you haven't actually watched the match yet, I think that's how you do it. Like that. I'm not sure. It's awful. Whatever it is. How about this? He looked more of an imbecile than I did. Okay, he's meant to be going out there wrestling, you know. But as he does this, okay, and I normally, if I see someone do this, my immediate reaction is, what a scumbag, what an imbecilic Nimrod. But when he did this, and then Swann's reaction of sitting there looking furious, the intensity and aggressiveness in this match tripled. Swann then gets some offense, he gets this beautiful dropkick. He then dabs. TJP looks pissed off. They exchange some punches, not strikes, punches. Swann hits him, goes for a moonsault off the apron to the floor, but he lands on his feet badly. TJP hits a springboard dropkick on the apron. Okay, so awesome spot of event. So now Swann's leg is the story of this match, and I was very surprised of how a dab could be introduced into the story to make me care about the match a bit more, and that was magnificent. If you're gonna do a dab, that's how you do it. TJP now working the leg, and makes sense again because he got his previous wins by the knee bar. Everyone's using the knee bar these days, aren't they? Swann hit a spike DDT, but he didn't get a 2 count because he didn't get much height because he's working the leg. Simple psychology, selling, telling a story. You know, people think, oh, high flyers, why do I watch the Cruiserweight Classic? They just flip, flop, and fly around. No, these guys are telling the story. If these guys went out there, trust me, if these guys went out there and they just flipped, flopped, and flown around this ring, I wouldn't give a fuck. But there's a good story, good psychology, good selling. I always say, if the psychology is done right, and when it is done right, it can be damn right magnificent. When it's done wrong, I immediately deduct stars off it. This, again, is done right. TJP, it's a beautiful gutbuster for 2. Springboard Hurricane Runner off the top. That was nice. Swann hits a twisting Michinoku driver for 2. They exchange some spin kicks, but Swann falls to his knees because of his bad leg, which allowed TJP to apply the knee bar. Swann tap, and once Swann tap, TJP immediately let go. And he jumped to cover. He jumped to kind of cuddle him, give him a hug, make sure he was okay. Do you know why? Because this isn't personal. This is for tournament. Commentary did a great job of saying, hey, look, in the end of the day, they may be your best friends, but, you know, they're doing this for the money. They're doing it for the fame. You know, they're doing it to make a name for themselves, to earn more money in the future. You know, great job from the commentary for that. And the commentary's helped telling the story of that these two guys are best friends. If people didn't know that TJ Perkins and Rich Swann faced each other in the old Evolve days and Dragon Gate and things like that, they did a great job. I love the friendship. Even though we've seen this friendship story about 18 times so far, because it's a tournament-style event, I still really like it. So that being said, I'll give that 3.5. Okay, so we have a 4-star and a 3.5 star. I'm interested to see what you guys think of this show. And if you haven't already, please check out my Raw review. Please check out my NXT review of Booms. Check out my retro live commentary on Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 3 in 1987. Also, check out 20 years ago. So much coming to this channel. But more importantly, make sure you all stay safe. Make sure you all stay well. And I'll be catching all your asses down the line.